Welcome, everybody, to the ultimate guide to purchasing a hyperbaric chamber. Shop with confidence. I'm your host, Dr. Louis Hilliard. So, who am I? My name is Dr. Louis Hilliard. I'm the owner of Atlanta Hyperbaric Center. I started Atlanta Hyperbaric Center over 18 years ago, and I opened up one of the very first private mild hyperbaric clinics in the country. And we grew to over 250 to 300 people a week. And had an amazing office, and now I am here to help you choose a hyperbaric chamber for yourself and for your office if need be. So, what is hyperbaric oxygen therapy? Well, to keep it real simple, hyperbaric oxygen therapy is where we put you in a pressurized environment, a hyperbaric chamber, increase that pressure, and then pump in oxygen. What that does is it takes your oxygen delivery from just normal respiration, where you breathe in 21% oxygen. It's then attached to your blood cells in the lungs, and those red blood cells account for about 7% of your body. So you get about 7% of your body delivering oxygen to all the areas of the body. Now, with hyperbaric, what we do is that the oxygen is pushed into all of the fluid of the body. So your body's made of around 70% fluid. So now you get 70% of your body delivering around 96% oxygen. And that 96% oxygen comes from the oxygen concentrator. So what I like to tell people is, do you want 7% of your body delivering 20% oxygen, or 70% of your body delivering over 90% oxygen? And of course, that's what most people do. How that's done is through a law called Henry's Law, as well as Boyle's Law. And pretty much Henry's Law states that gas under pressure will dissolve in fluid, the fluid being all of the fluid of the body, and then the gas being oxygen. So that oxygen is pushed in all the fluid of the body and then delivered. Keep in mind that hyperbaric chambers are a class 2 medical device, so you need to have a prescription or medical license to operate one. So, what does your first hyperbaric session feel like if you've never been in one? Well, the first thing that you're going to notice is pressure in the ears. And that pressure, as the pressure normally or gradually increases, so does the pressure in the ears, and you can actually have some ear pain going on within your middle earlobe. That's called octic barotrauma. So the first thing you're gonna feel is the pressure in the ears. The next thing you could start to feel is, of course, is the stuffiness, or as the pressure increases, the heat that will start to increase, because you're going to have a heat buildup from both the body, the pressure pushing all the molecules together, the breathing, and then, of course, the heat from the pumps. So you're going to feel that as well. But keep in mind that in order to keep your mind off of these things, you can also bring in some reading material. Maybe you have your cell phone or tablet. You'll just have to ask your treating physician if that's allowed there. So, what are the types of hyperbaric chambers? And if you look at my cursor here, we have three different types. We have your monoplace chamber, your multiplace chamber, and your mild hyperbaric chamber. So your monoplace chamber is typically it's mono, is one person can get in that hyperbaric chamber. These chambers are medical grade chambers. You might have seen them. They look like a big acrylic glass tube. You might have seen one like Michael Jackson in one. These chambers typically go up to uh, 3 atmospheres, maybe even 3.5 atmospheres as well. And they typically are found in medical clinics, hyperbaric clinics, as well as hospitals, and they are used to treat medical conditions. And there's only a select few of medical conditions that most monoplace chambers are used for. These chambers are also typically cost anywhere between 100,000 and even 2 or 300,000. The professional experience you're going to need to have a certification. You're going to need to have some very special insurance, very special build out, because these monoplace chambers also use 100% oxygen pumped into that acrylic tube, that you have to have materials that don't cause a spark and what have you. Very dangerous chambers, and most important, most people can't get them with a prescription, let alone even a license. You have to have very various certifications, and a medical license to get these type of chambers. The next one is called your multi-place hyperbaric chamber. These are ones that you find they're very big, large tanks, 5, 6, 7, 10 people can fit into them. They have multiple airlocks, so people can go in and out of them all throughout the day, as the pressure is the same throughout in the main chamber. Also, as I said, the chambers are filled with air, but the patients will wear a hood or a mask, and that will pump in the 100% oxygen into there. Now, the ones that we're going to focus on are the mild hyperbaric chambers, and these chambers are perfect for home use, for a small clinic use, like a chiropractic office, medical office, plastic surgeon. These chambers typically go anywhere between 1.3 and 1.5, and they can all be operated by one person, both inside and outside. They consist of a vinyl bag, a framing system, whether it be PVC or metal, and typically have anywhere between 2 zippers and buckles, or 3 zippers um, in the opening to help keep it secure. All of the chambers that we sell here at Atlanta Hyperbaric Center are approved or certified by the FDA, and we sell only but the best class 2 medical supplies. So, does the FDA approve hyperbaric? There are a lot of off-label uses that it doesn't cover, like the mild hyperbaric chamber has a 510K uh, certification with the FDA, that it's only used for acute mountain sickness. That is it for a mild hyperbaric chamber. Excuse me. So anything like traumatic brain injury, autism, Alzheimer's, Lyme disease, all of these are considered off-label use and are not recognized by the FDA for treating various conditions. Hyperbaric is recognized with the monoplace chamber and the multi-place chamber for insurance for about 13 conditions. Um, Air and gas embolism, carbon monoxide, decompression sickness, crush injuries, severe burns, flesh eating wounds, stuff like that. Um, Insurance will cover for in a multi-place or monoplace chamber, but not a mild hyperbaric chamber. So, what are the contraindications to hyperbaric? And there are a few. Most important, if you have somebody that has a sinus infection, ear infections, we don't want to put them in there. Somebody that's in their second and third trimester, we don't want to put them in there. COPD or any other type of respiratory infections or diseases going on with the respiratory system, particularly the lungs, you might want to consult with their respiratory therapist to make sure it is all right and it is safe. Other contraindications could be uh, history of chest surgery or pneumothorax, maybe some sort of hole in the chest. There again, could be possible. You might want to talk to the cardiologist or what have you. But also, there are also some drugs as well that are contraindication, that are chemotherapy drugs, and some that also attack like different types of addictions. So, with that being said, make sure that if you are treating patients, and if that patient does have a history of any one of these conditions, that you follow through with a proper history, maybe even follow up with the treating physician for that, just to make sure that their hyperbaric treatment is going to be successful, because we don't want to hurt anybody or have anybody hurt. So what are the side effects? Common side effects is going to be, we already talked about a little bit ago, is the first one is middle ear pain. Ear pain is very common. It doesn't last a long time. It's not like you're going to have this ear pain throughout every session. Just like if you worked out and you're sore for like your first week, the exact same thing here, that you might be sore for your first 3 or 4 times using it, but eventually your ears will get used to it and you won't have that ear pain. Claustrophobia is another very common um, thing that we come across when treating patients. But let me give you guys some glimmer of hope that claustrophobia means that it kind of like comes when somebody's trapped in a small space and they can't get out and they can't control it. With our hyperbaric chambers, the chambers can be used by a single person, both inside and outside. So even though that you're in a confined space, you can get out of that chamber typically, even if it's completely inflated, within about 20 to 30 seconds, you can be out of there. So understand that you do have full control of the chamber, both getting in and getting out of there at any time. And then, of course, lightheadedness, fatigueness. People quite often fall asleep when they're in the hyperbaric chamber. When they get out of the chamber, you're going to feel a fatigueness about you. That's because the body's going into healing mode. It's um, it's healing itself. So of course, when the body's healing, it gets tired and stuff like that. And then of course, you always want to make sure that your patients, or before you go in, you're not pregnant, you have a cold and flu, have any types of severe reactions. And if you do, consult your physician immediately uh, with that. So, what type of documentation do you need to buy a hyperbaric chamber? If you're Mr. or Mrs. Jones and you're buying it for yourself, for your loved one, for your child, you're going to need a prescription. And you can get that prescription from your treating physician, medical doctor, online doctor, maybe even telemedicine within your state. Now, if you are a doctor, a chiropractor, a medical doctor, a physician's assistant, all I'm going to need is your state license. And if you can send that over to me, we can, help you get your chamber started and get you one pretty much relatively within a week or two. So, what is your chamber going to be used for? This is, quite often, this is a very common question I ask somebody. Is it for personal use or for professional use? If it's for personal use, of course, I'm going to need your prescription. Of course, we also offer training course for free. We want you to know what your budget is because some people say, Doc, I just don't know. Well, how much money do you have spent? Because they can range anywhere from 5,000 to 20,000. And quite often, I'll mention the middle one, and they always go to the lower one. And if I mention the lower one, they always go up to the middle one. So I always try to ask people, what is your budget? Because that will determine what type of chamber or what size chamber you can actually get. Now, if you are a professional, a healthcare professional, I specialize in working with doctors all over the country, staff. We have no problem working with any of your staff as well. So, but I will need to have a copy of your medical license. You can be assured that all of our equipment is FDA approved. We also are going to offer you doctors uh, business coaching as well as online coaching, as well as a one-on-one call with me, or even the personal customers as well. If you ever need a one-on-one call with me, we're always there for my customers to make sure they get the most out of their hyperbaric chamber experience. So what should your prescription say? Typically, your treating physician will know what to write, but if not, as long as it says something like hyperbaric with oxygen therapy, or hyperbaric oxygen therapy, or hyperbaric with uh, oxygen, something like that. And you want to mention both of them that you can so you can buy both pieces of equipment, because you have to have a prescription for both the hyperbaric chamber and an oxygen concentrator. So if it just says hyperbaric therapy and that's it doesn't talk about oxygen, you're going to need to get another prescription for that oxygen. So just keep that in mind, okay? So, who can treat patients? This is another very common question that comes up to me quite often. And who can treat patients? I'll keep it real simple. If you are a licensed holder, and I mean a state license holder in the medical field or chiropractic or even a physician's assistant in most states, you can treat patients with hyperbaric. If you are Mr. or Mrs. Jones and you own a spa, a gym, a clinic, and you don't have a doctor or a chiropractor or physician assistant working with you, you could be what's called practicing medicine without a license, and that's against the law. Now, that doesn't mean it's all doom and gloom. Mr. or Mrs. Jones, that you own the spa, the gym, or what have you, you can hire a medical doctor, you can hire a chiropractor to oversee them so you can still treat patients. I would be more than happy to work with you and your staff on this in any way so you can start treating patients and building a business with purpose, because this is what we're all about, helping my customers build a life of purpose and a business with purpose. So who are the industry's top manufacturers? First, you have Summit to Sea. Summit to Sea has been around for over 30 years. They build typically the white looking chambers that have buckles. So they'll have two zippers and a series of buckles. I do like this setup because those buckles are not hard to open at all. Plus, they give an extensive amount of support. And I even think sometimes even stronger than that third zipper. With that being said, they have several different models, around 10 different models that ranging anywhere from 26 inches to over 60 inches. They have vertical chambers. They also have chambers for wheelchairs. So you'll have quite a bit of variety with Summit to Sea. Newtown is another tremendously awesome manufacturer. They've been building diving equipment and stuff like that for quite some time now. And with that being said, they build four series of chambers: a 27-inch, a 34-inch, 40-inch, and now they also have the new walk-in 52-inch chamber that you can also put a wheelchair in there. Um, either one of these manufacturers, you are not going to lose. They're priced fair. The quality is second to none with Newtown and even Summit to Sea. And quite frankly, I think these are the two best brands by far. Now there is another brand out there that is called Oxy Health. I don't sell for them, but I have inspected a number of their chambers. Their chambers are typically two or three thirds, or 1 to 2 thirds, I should say, excuse me, overpriced. Um, and the quality of the material is not there that you would get with both the Summit to Sea and the Newtown. So you're literally paying twice as much or three times as much for a chamber that's not the quality is not there like the other manufacturers. So what should you look for when purchasing a hyperbaric chamber? Well, I'll go over a couple of these. You can also read them over yourself. But welds is very important. You don't want to have any glued seams. You don't want to have it. You want to have all of the welds kind of like melted together. That's called a weld. And also around the windows. Compressors, of course, you want to make sure that your compressors are are quiet, know what the decibels are. There's a manufacturer out there that has very, very loud compressors that it almost sounds like you're sitting next to an airport. So just be wary on that. Intake valves. Make sure you have an open intake valve. If you see here, I have a picture of a pen that's going in one of the valves. That is an open valve, meaning that that air can go in and go out of this no matter if there's if it's on or off. There's manufacturers that have a closed valve system that if the compressed air stops, the valve will shut, and then there's no air getting in or out of it, and you could possibly suffocate. So be wary, make sure you always get an open valve system. Both the Summit to Sea and Newtown do have open valves. Both Summit to Sea and Newtown hoses are also very large, at least 3/4 large, or not small little diameter, like a 1/4 inch diameter or 1/2 inch diameter. These are very large holes. Both chambers of Newtown and Summit to Sea also have 3 areas of support to cover that opening, meaning 2 zippers and buckles or 3 zippers. You do not want to buy a chamber with just 2 zippers. You're going to have a problem with it later on down the road, um, and you just don't want to have that. And a frame, I always like to tell people get an external frame and not an internal metal frame, because you don't want to have your body parts, elbows, knees, wrist, head laying on metal. It just gets comfortable after a few minutes, and you won't have a comfortable session. And then of course you can just continue scrolling down the rest of these as well, but just making sure that you know what you're buying, who you're buying it from, and of course, if you're going for new or used, or you're even considering used, make sure that you only buy used hyperbaric chambers that are recertified, and recertified by the manufacturer, most important. Because if you get like some people, and I've heard some horror stories where people have purchased hyperbaric chambers from eBay, they were not recertified, and within a few weeks or a few months, the chamber ends up breaking, and they're out $5,000-$10,000. We don't want to have that happen. And then, of course, all of our new chambers are warranted with a 2-year warranty and certified with the FDA. So there are a few types of chambers that you can choose from. I like to put them in like clothing size: small, medium, large, and extra large. Our small chambers, excuse me, our small chambers here are your 26 and your 27-inch chamber. These chambers are perfect for people for a single person use, are awesome for introductory, great for people that want to travel, they're portable, but there again, they are very small. The smaller the chamber, the hotter and stuffier it gets. But they're again extremely affordable. The next one is our medium chambers. Our medium chambers are our 33 and our 34-inch chamber. These chambers run anywhere between $6,000 and $8,000. The great thing with these chambers, we also offer a military veterans, first responders discount on each of these chambers. So if you are a veteran or a military first responder or any of that, please give us a call, and we can get you a discount. But what's great about these chambers is that this is the perfect chamber for just about anybody. If you're under 260 pounds, it's going to be perfect for a male or female. You can get just about 2 people in there. It gets a little stuffy, but you can fit 2 adults in there, no problem. How you would measure it would be 33 inches up from the wall, 33 inches out from the wall, and about 7 foot down the wall. The great thing about these chambers, again, is because they are larger, that you don't get as stuffy or as hot as you would like the 26 or 27-inch. Our larger chambers is the 40-inch chambers, both by Summit to Sea and Newtown. These 2 chambers are excellent. They are huge, meaning that you can put 2 adults in here, no problem, and or sit up, lay down. You can do some exercise. They're excellent, excellent chambers for multiple use. And typically anybody that's 350 pounds or 6'5" or lower, this is going to be a great chamber for you. They're about 8 foot long, 40 inches out from the wall, 40 inches up from the wall. And that's how you'd measure that. Okay, now we have our extra large chambers. We have the Grand Dive Pro, we have the 54 inch, and we have the Grand Dive Pro Plus. These are excellent chambers. These chambers, both the 54 and the 60, are perfect for a wheelchair. So if you have somebody that's in a wheelchair, get them either one of those. The Grand Dive Pro is still large. It's 52 inches in diameter, but I don't think you're going to get you can get a child in a wheelchair in that, but you're not going to get an adult. But it's large enough to do therapies. It's large enough to put 2 or 3 people in, and an excellent chambers. These three. There's your footprint of your 60-inch. It's the wheelchair accessible. And now we have our vertical chambers. And our vertical chambers are made by Summit to See, and those ones are either 40-inch vertical and 5 foot high, or 60-inch vertical and 5 foot high. So the 60-inch vertical can fit 2 adults in chairs side by side, or a parent and child can lay on the bottom in a bean bag or high density foam. The 40-inch dive vertical, pretty much you're just going to put a person in there with a chair, and that's about all they're going to be able to do with that chamber. And here again, there are some of the more specs and how you can measure it out. You can look at it, and I'll let you guys take a look at that on your own. So why should you only purchase a hyperbaric chamber made in the USA? Well, I have heard quite a bit of horror stories on people that buy chambers that the companies are here in the US, but the chamber is made in China. You need to make sure you understand and know this, because if your chamber is made in China, and we'll say you get a small leak like a hole in the seam, or you might blow out a zipper, which could be very common, that if you have to send it back to China, you got to send it halfway around the world, and the shipping cost could be is just as much as the chamber. The second thing you got to also put in consideration, the time it takes to send that chamber, get it fixed and sent back, can be up to several months, I have heard, versus several weeks or a couple of weeks or a couple of days here if you buy a chamber made in the USA. And then lastly, we don't know what the materials that these chambers from other countries are being made of. A lot of times they're using not medical grade materials to build their components. So there is no way of knowing if you're getting oxygen or concentration of oxygen from their oxygen concentrator. There is no way of knowing really what the pressure is, because the pressure gauges are not regulated. So there is and also the materials, the off-gassing. You put a child in there and they have toxic off-gassing from any of the components, not just the chamber vinyl, that could cause more damage and actually heal. So keep in mind all of these when buying a chamber, that you only want to buy a chamber that is a 510K certified by the FDA, that is an approved, accredited hyperbaric chamber. Accessories to think about. There's only really one accessory you're going to need with your chamber, and that is the oxygen concentrator. And then we take care of the rest. And typically your oxygen concentrator can go anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000. We do have them in stock right now. We're one of the only dealers that do have them in stock. But also, when you get the chamber from us and you get the oxygen concentrator, we give you for free all of your little accessories so you don't have to go around looking for them. Like, for example, an oxygen hose and an oxygen tube and your oxygen nut or even your pulse ox, that we give you that stuff so you don't have to look around for it all the time. We like to take excellent care of our customers and make sure we fulfill every one of their needs. So what services? You see, with if you think about like I'm going to go to a manufacturer and I'm going to buy a hyperbaric chamber from the manufacturer and not Atlanta Hyperbaric Center. Well, guess what? All you're getting is just the chamber, and you're not going to save any more on the price, and you're not going to get any better of the service. Actually, you probably get worse service if you go to the manufacturer or a smaller company. Why? Because at Atlanta Hyperbaric Center, we have multiple services to help our customers become successful with their chambers. I like to say your success is my success. So, and how we do that is that we just don't sell you a chamber and let you go. We sell you a chamber. We have we have, of course, new and used certified equipment. So you're going to get good equipment. We also provide training so you learn how to use it properly. We also help you sell your chamber when you're done with it to make your money back. We offer all of our customers an opportunity to become part of our partnership affiliate program where you can learn to make money selling all of our various products and services. And then, of course, we also have now the business coaching where we teach doctors and businesses around the country and how to sell their hyperbaric to help them to build a business with purpose and make an impact in their community. So our training course, we have training both for private use, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, but also we have it for staff and for doctors, certification for doctors. And we go over different things like operation techniques, contraindications, um, protocols, and all of that, just so you know exactly how to use your chamber and how to use it safely. Business coaching. We want you to get a return on your investment. When you buy a chamber from us, don't think you're going to have that hanging over your head for the next 2 or 3 or 4 years. We can show you how you can pay that chamber off with just in a few months if just following some of our simple plans and how we help our doctors become successful. Team building, marketing strategies. We also teach you, of course, build a life with purpose, build a business with purpose. And then, of course, our businesses all become a part of our affiliate program. And that's when we start making a huge impact, not just individually into our community, but also across the country, even worldwide. So there are ways to save. You know, everybody contacts me, hey doc, how can we save some money? And every customer that calls me, everybody that calls me, I do my best to find a way for them to save money. So if you're a veteran and you have your DD 214 military ID, something like that, you bring it to me, we can get you a discount. First responders, the exact same thing. Bring me your IDs. Let me see what we can do. If you're a professional athlete or even in a collegiate program, there are ways for you to save. But most important, if you're just a private buyer and you want to buy this for your wife or your husband or your child, you know what? I got ways for you to save as well. So when purchasing a hyperbaric chamber, there are some things that I want you to be able to take from this video. Make sure you have the proper documentation, whether it be your prescription or your license. Know what your budget is. Know how much you can afford or how much you want to spend. And then understand what you are buying and who you are buying it from. Understand there are a lot of salespeople out there that will tell you anything just to get your business, but put you in the wrong path. and we don't want to have that happen. Make sure it fits in your spot. I have had people buy a chamber and it happened to be too big for their area, and they had to return it and get a smaller one. Not a really cool thing to do, but as well as, and when you're done, can you sell your chamber? And of course, with us, when you're done with your chamber, we help all of our customers resell their chambers for them. So why should you buy from Atlanta Hyperbaric Center? Well, of course, you're going to get my great services. We are committed. I am committed to you, to your satisfaction and to your needs as being a hyperbaric customer. I want to make sure that you become successful. So with that, you're going to have my cell phone number, as well as you get a one-on-one call with myself or any of my staff that are team of doctors that we do one-on-one with each of our customers. Our equipment comes with a 2-year warranty that's 0 questions asked. Anything happens to any of your piece of equipment, you call me. We get it fixed, replaced, or repaired immediately. We also offer discounts. The more you buy, the more you save with us, and we are committed to helping you get the best deal, bar none. So if you're getting you're getting a price from somebody and you want to bring it to me, I will guarantee that we can match or beat any price that is out there. So are you ready to begin your own hyperbaric adventure? All you got to do is just give me a call at 770-948-4511. Again, my name is Dr. Louis Hilliard, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to offer you an opportunity to save some serious money and get a chamber. So if you call me today or you order online on my website and you put in HBOT for me, that's HBOT for me, you're going to receive 5% off your order and free shipping. And in some cases, this can be savings of well over $1,000, or if not close to it. So there again, we want to help every one of my customers save money, get great service, get a great chamber. Give me a call, 770-948-4511. Type in HBOT for me. Let me help you get your savings. Let me help you get a great piece of equipment. And lastly, I want to thank you for your time and your consideration in purchasing a hyperbaric chamber. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. Thank you, and God bless.